Welcome to the Thinking Director channel, where thinking differently leads to living differently. Imagine the world as a giant chessboard, where every country, every business, and even every individual is a piece in motion. But this isn't just a game for territory. This is a battle to control something far more valuable: the flow of money and energy. Have you noticed that whenever oil prices shift, the financial markets tremble? Those ups and downs are no accident. They are carefully calculated moves by those who understand exactly how this game is played. There are people like Warren Buffett, unmoved by chaos. While the world debates whether gold or the dollar is the king of assets, he quietly chooses oil, something both sides need. He doesn't pick a side, he picks the position where the money is. We are living in a time where wars aren't just fought on battlefields. They're fought in numbers, contracts, and every investment decision. The question isn't, will there be a crisis? It's, where will the money flow? This video won't just show you those moves. It will help you understand how smart people turn volatility into opportunity. And how you can do the same. Warren Buffett is not just an investor, he's a reader of the times. He doesn't choose assets based on emotion, but on a simple principle: buy what the world will always need. While most people rush to argue whether gold or the dollar is the king of assets, Buffett quietly observes. He realizes that whether you choose gold or dollars, both still require one thing to power the economy: energy. For him, oil is the answer. In times when the world is shaken by war, volatility, and crisis, Buffett doesn't try to pick a winning side. He chooses the position where money flows in. Think back to the tense period between Israel and Iran, when oil prices skyrocketed 36% in a short time. For the average investor, this might be bad news, a financial storm. But for Buffett, it's an opportunity. He buys when others are still uncertain, because he understands the principle: when demand stays constant but supply is threatened, value will rise. And when value rises, those holding that asset will win. This mindset isn't just for billionaires. You can apply it to your own life. Ask yourself, what will people always need, regardless of time or circumstance? It could be a skill, a commodity, or a sustainable business model. One of the biggest mistakes average investors make is chasing the crowd. When the market heats up, everyone buys. When it crashes, everyone sells. And the result? They always buy high and sell low. Warren Buffett does the opposite. He doesn't let the crowd lead him. Instead of rushing to the loudest places, he seeks out the scarcest ones, where real value is being overlooked. Have you noticed that anything scarce tends to become valuable? Not just gold or oil, but also business opportunities, pieces of land, or even a rare skill. For example, during the health crisis, masks and medical equipment became the new gold. Those who had invested or prepared beforehand instantly held the advantage. Buffett understands that to make big profits, you don't need to follow a booming trend. You need to spot it before it booms. And this requires observation, analysis, and patience. If you want to be a wise investor, start asking, what's about to be in short supply? What will people need that no one is prepared for yet? The answer will lead you to opportunities the majority hasn't spotted. The financial world doesn't reward those who quickly chase trends. It rewards those who find the spring while it's still hidden underground. And when the water starts to flow, they're ready to receive it. So instead of asking, what's everyone buying now? Ask, what will people need that no one's prepared for? The right answer to that question could completely change your financial future. There's a powerful principle in economics that few notice: whoever controls energy controls the world. Energy is the lifeblood of the economy. Without electricity, oil, or gas, production stops, transportation halts, and the entire system grinds to a standstill. Buffett understood this early on. He doesn't see oil as just a commodity for short-term speculation. He sees it as a key to unlock the door of financial power. Think about it. If you own the energy source the whole world depends on, you don't just make money selling it. You decide who gets access, at what price, and at what time. Throughout history, every major conflict has been tied to energy: oil in the Middle East, gas in Europe, coal in the last century. Interestingly, controlling energy isn't just for nations or giant corporations. Even an individual investor can apply this principle. Invest in assets or industries that are the fuel of the future. That fuel could be renewable energy technology, electricity storage batteries, or energy-saving solutions. As long as it meets an essential and growing societal need, it can become your source of financial power. The question is, what do you hold in your hands that the world cannot live without? If the answer is nothing yet, then maybe it's time you start finding and building it. There's a narrow stretch of water, only about 30 kilometers long, yet it holds the lifeline of the global economy, the Strait of Hormuz. Every day, over 20% of the world's oil passes through this point. That means, with just one incident, the entire energy market can be shaken. When Iran threatened to close Hormuz, oil prices immediately jumped 10%, then 20%, and finally surged to 36% in a short span. For most countries, this is an economic disaster. But for the US, it's a golden opportunity. Why? Because the US not only produces oil but also sells it to the world, demanding payment in dollars. When oil prices rise, everyone rushes to buy dollars to make payments. As a result, the dollar strengthens while gold prices fall. And when gold gets cheaper, the US quietly buys it up, then lends it back to the world. This is the double play, a situation where a nation benefits from high oil prices while also strengthening its currency power. For an individual investor, the lesson here is, find the Strait of Hormuz in your own field, the choke points that when you hold or control them, you'll always be in a position of power. Ask yourself, in the industry or market you're in, what is the resource or position that people must pass through? If you find it, you've found your strategic leverage. In finance, a major event rarely stands alone. It often triggers a chain reaction. Like dropping a stone into a lake, the ripples spread far, reaching shores you never expected. When a crisis hits, investors and nations often sell off assets to hoard US dollars, the currency still seen as the world's safe haven. This creates an opportunity for the US when asset prices plunge due to sell-offs. The US can buy them cheaply, like someone waiting for the storm to pass before buying a house for half its original price. But that's just the first step. After buying cheap, the US can print more dollars and lend them to other nations, making them even more dependent on its currency. This is a two birds with one stone strategy, profiting from buying assets at low prices while also increasing global financial control. The lesson for individual investors? Don't just look at the immediate event. Ask, what will this set in motion? And how can I position myself to benefit from that outcome? Just like in chess, you can't think only about your current move. You must see 3 to 5 moves ahead. The difference between an average investor and a strategic one lies in the ability to look ahead and wait for the right moment. So, in your field, how will the chain reaction play out? If you can predict it, you won't just survive the turbulence, you'll thrive because of it. There's a strategy rarely talked about but incredibly effective in competition. Raise your opponent's costs. In business, you don't always have to attack head-on to win. Sometimes, just making your opponent spend more, wait longer, and get more exhausted is enough for them to collapse on their own. At a national level, this is crystal clear. When oil prices rise, oil-importing countries are forced to spend more foreign currency to keep their economies running. Meanwhile, oil-producing nations reap huge profits. The US has used this strategy when energy prices were high, forcing economic rivals to spend more on fuel, weakening their ability to invest in other sectors. On a personal or business level, this principle still applies. If you control a crucial element in the supply chain, materials, technology, or distribution, you can make competitors pay more just to stay in the game. For example, a software company can create proprietary technology that competitors are forced to license. Every time they use it, they contribute to your profits. This isn't always about aggressive attacks. Sometimes, it's simply about creating an advantage that's hard for competitors to match without paying a premium. The question you should ask is, what factor in my industry could become a cost lever for others? If you find it and control it, you'll always be in a winning position, even without making a direct move. For many, crisis is a source of fear, but for strategists, it's a golden moment. When the market falls into chaos, weaker competitors start showing their cracks. This is when the strongest don't just survive, they expand their control. Historically, many major corporations were born or rose to power during crises. When others sold off assets to save liquidity, they bought at bargain prices. When others cut investment, they expanded market share. Warren Buffett once said, "Be fearful when others are greedy, and be greedy when others are fearful." It sounds simple, but to do it, you must keep calm and maintain a long-term vision in the middle of the storm. A crisis is like a heavy rain. Those unprepared get soaked and scramble for shelter. Those prepared bring out buckets to collect water, and then use that water to grow trees for the future. On a personal level, a crisis could be losing a job, technological change, or market shifts. If you've prepared skills, resources, or capital in advance, you can turn those disruptions into a springboard to go further. The lesson here is clear. Never waste a crisis. While others are busy defending, find ways to strengthen your position, expand your network, or secure assets that will skyrocket in value when the market recovers. So, if a crisis hits tomorrow, will you panic, or calmly open your strategic roadmap? In every power game, strategic resources are the ultimate trump card. Whoever controls them has the power to shape the rules. Strategic resources aren't just oil or gold. They can be water, rare earth minerals, food, or even technology and data, things the world simply cannot live without. When you hold resources that everyone needs, you negotiate from the strongest position. You don't chase the market chases you. Look at resource-rich nations. They can influence the global economy with just one decision on production or pricing. On a business level, controlling strategic resources means owning something competitors can't easily replace. This could be mining rights, a technology patent, or an exclusive distribution network. And on a personal level, it could be rare skills, unique experience, or relationships others find hard to build. Strategic resources are like water in a desert. It doesn't matter how much you have, if you're the only one who has it. You'll be at the center of every negotiation. The question for you is, what is my strategic resource? And how am I protecting and developing it so it becomes even more valuable? If you can answer that, you'll know how to stand firm and lead in any game. In the world of finance, power doesn't just come from how much money you have. It comes from whether your currency is accepted by the entire world. The US knows this better than anyone. The US dollar being the global reserve currency gives America a huge advantage. It can print money to buy goods and assets worldwide, while other nations must work hard to earn those dollars. When the world trades oil, gold, or commodities in dollars, the demand for the currency remains high. This allows the US to borrow at low interest rates, and sometimes never fully pay it back. This is a soft power, but an incredibly effective one. The US can impose financial sanctions, freeze assets, or block international transactions of any nation simply by controlling the dollar payment system. The lesson for individuals is this: if you want to increase your financial power, create a unit of value that others are compelled to use, whether that's a product, service, or skill. Just like the dollar, the more widely your unit of value is used, the less you have to actively seek customers, they will come to you. At a business level, this could be a technical standard, a tech platform, or a brand that has become a consumer habit. Once you reach that position, you can set prices and lead the market. So, the key question is, what is your unit of value? And how can it become something the market cannot ignore? In every game, whether sports, business, or politics, the one who writes the rules always holds the greatest advantage. You may play extremely well, but if the rules are designed against you, winning becomes nearly impossible. The US has applied this principle on a global scale. Through international organizations, trade agreements, and the financial system, it has helped shape the rules so that its interests are always protected. When you set the standards, from how trades are conducted, to how prices are calculated, to who gets to participate, you will always be in a leading position. At the business level, controlling the rules of the game could mean creating a platform all competitors must join if they want customer access, or building a technical standard the industry has to comply with. On a personal level, you can also create your own rules of the game by defining the terms, standards, and working methods others must accept if they want to work with you. When you control the rules, You don't just play to win, you play to ensure that no matter the outcome, you still benefit. The question is, whose rules are you playing by? And is it time you start writing your own? After 10 stages, you've probably realized, every game, whether in finance, business, or even life, follows deeper principles than what we see on the surface. Winners aren't always the strongest, they're the ones who understand the rules, seize the moment, and are always prepared for the next move. You may not control the market, but you can control how you respond. You may not redraw the world's map, but you can redraw your own strategic map. Sustainable success comes from long-term vision, the ability to see chain reactions, and holding resources that make you irreplaceable. So the final question for you is, will you keep playing by someone else's rules, or start writing your own? If you found this valuable, share this video so more people can understand the real rules of the game. And don't forget to subscribe, because we've only just begun our journey into strategy.